Hi, and welcome to this fourth program of the fitness and health program Fit for Life. Tonight, we take a look at childhood obesity. Let's start with tips to encourage your child to exercise as early as possible. 3 to 5-year-olds have abundant energy. I still haven't met a parent who is not totally wiped out by the end of the day. Parents should encourage their children to be active right from the start, and by the time they are 3 years old, they will begin to develop a confidence in their bodies and growing physical capabilities. Having sufficient space to run and explore is terrific for kids. Climbing frames and other play equipment provide children with ample exercise opportunities, and most kids find swinging, climbing, and sliding fun, as well as developing their strength and coordination. They are capable of playing simple games and enjoy playing with parents and siblings. Hide and seek, follow the leader, Simon Says, and tag are easily learned and played and provide outlets for their never-ending energy supplies. Parents can turn tidying up into a game, like let's see who can pick up the most blocks in 2 minutes. Kids who exercise show the benefits immediately. They tend to behave better than children who don't and are unable to release their energy, sleep soundly, have good appetites, and some studies even show that children who remain active become bright, well-focused students. Cuerpo sano, mente sana. At 6 to 8 years old, their capacity and desire to be helpful is high, making them more cooperative, so parents and other involved caregivers should take advantage of these years to help foster a love of exercise and activity in their kids. Once they are older, it gets harder to change bad habits, so these early years are important in terms of lifelong fitness. While routine is important in their lives, they can get bored if each day is the same as the last. Parents should expose them to an array of active games. Kids do their best learning while they're having fun, so parents can help to stave off boredom by enrolling kids in short-term activities. Letting kids choose what they like, because they are so eager to please at this age. Get them active by washing the family car or walking the dog. Don't drive them everywhere. This practice is taking its toll on the health and fitness of your kids. Walking is one of the best activities for all ages, and kids should be encouraged to walk. There are few things more important for lifelong fitness than establishing a regular walking routine. When choosing gifts, choose toys and sporting equipment that encourage active play. While board games and videos are fine in moderation, bicycles, roller skates, basketball, hoops, jump ropes, and climbing frames all give kids the opportunity to build healthy bodies while they have fun. They're not much different from the rest of us. They will only continue an activity if they enjoy it. Childhood obesity is a very real problem in our world today, and research supports the notion that overweight kids are more likely than their peers to grow into overweight adults. Considering all of the health risks associated with carrying extra weight, parents need to make fitness a priority for their families. Let's deal with fussy eating in children. Here are some ideas to help with your child's fussy eating habits. Get into good habits. Have meals and snacks at regular times each day. If she or he isn't hungry in between meals, you can even try to get rid of snacking. Set time limits for meals and to explain that once mealtime is over, there will be no other food available until the next meal or snack. Try to not to stress about your child's fussiness. This can make meal times and eating more stressful. For everyone, ask your child to try a mouthful of all the food on the plate. Create a pleasant atmosphere at meals. Make meal times a happy social occasion. Try not to worry about knocked over drinks or food on the floor, and give positive feedback on the habits you want continued. Try not to focus on the negatives. Make healthy foods fun. You can cut sandwiches into interesting shapes or let your child help prepare the salad or whisk eggs for an omelette. In general, if your child sees you enjoying food, it will encourage him to do likewise. It's a good idea to turn the TV off and to talk to each other instead. Give your child independence with food. Let your child make choices within the range of healthy foods you offer, but try to keep options limited to 2 or 3 different things. Ask, would you like grapes or carrot sticks? It can be a good idea to support your child's need for independence when it comes to food. For example, it doesn't hurt to take the crusts off bread if that's what he or she wants. If you give in to a few demands or preferences, you'll help him feel more in control. A good rule to remember is you decide what food and your child decides how much. Introducing new foods, put a small amount of each food on the plate so your child isn't overwhelmed. If you keep offering a particular food, your child is more likely to try it and eventually like it. When possible, have your child share meals and snacks with other children. He might be more willing to try a food if he sees other children eating them. Serve your child the same meal the family is eating. If your child doesn't eat it, say something like, "Try it, it's yummy." If she still doesn't want it, calmly say, "Okay, we'll try it another time when you're hungry." Serve new foods along with foods your child already likes. For example, a piece of broccoli alongside some mashed potato. Encourage your child to touch, smell, or take a lick of the new food. Then praise him for having a go. Then encourage him to take a bite. Eat a variety of nutritious foods at each meal yourself. Show your child that you're willing to try new foods and that you enjoy them too. Avoid unhealthy foods. It's tempting to offer your child treats just so she eats something. But if you offer fatty, sugary, or salty snacks as substitutes, your child might start refusing healthier foods and offering unhealthy treats as bribes, for example. If you have a carrot, you can have some chocolate, can also make your child more interested in treats than the healthy foods. Fussy eating facts. Children's appetites are affected by their growth cycles. Even babies have fluctuating appetites. Between 1 and 5 years, it's common for children to be really hungry one day and picky the next. Children have different taste preferences from grown-ups. Life for children is too exciting to spend time eating, and children learn by testing the boundaries of acceptable behavior. They can be very strong-willed when it comes to making decisions about food, to eat or not to eat, and what to eat. It's all part of their social, intellectual, and emotional development. Sometimes your child will refuse food to get a reaction from you. If children refuse to eat a food, it doesn't mean they dislike it. After all, they might not have even tasted it. So keep trying. Children, especially toddlers, have a strong need for rituals and for what's familiar. If your child asks for pasta without the sauce, this might just be a way for him to get simple, easily identifiable foods that boost his sense of security. The good news is that the tendency to reject new foods fades as children get older. Remind yourself that one day your child is likely to eat and enjoy a whole range of foods, even if it's very frustrating now. Okay, I have now with me Professor Jesus Jimenez Suarez, and he is going to enlighten us on some of the unhealthy habits that children might have, or just educate us a little bit on how to tackle the obesity in children. So the first thing I want to ask you, Jesus, is can an obese child suffer psychologically?
Sí, sin duda, sin duda. Muchos niños sufren los efectos psicológicos a consecuencia de la obesidad porque se convierten en niños impotentes que no saben cómo resolver el problema y son presa de la mofa de otros niños en los colegios que se ríen de ellos y demás, y ellos son pues ajenos a lo que les está ocurriendo realmente. Influye mucho en el rendimiento escolar, influye mucho en el rendimiento tanto deportivo, porque son niños que tienen menos capacidad para hacer deporte que otros niños, porque sus kilos son un impedimento añadido, sin duda.
What about, is there a genetic condition?
Sí, también es cierto, sin lugar a dudas, la genética influye mucho en estos casos y los niños que sufren de este problema pues van a ver el peso como un hándicap, como un problema que tienen que combatir y que la verdad es que viven con esa predisposición a la obesidad. Lo que pasa es que muchos niños o muchas familias obesas son felices con sus kilos, o sea, también hay que tener en cuenta eso, que no hay que dramatizar ni tampoco demonizar. Al contrario, hay familias que con hijos obesos que son felices y pueden perfectamente hacer una vida normal sin ningún tipo de dificultad.
And the most important thing is the correct diet for a child.
Claro, eso es otra cosa. Me refiero a la alimentación, la más sana posible es aquella que tenemos que todos los que nos dedicamos a la profesión sanitaria y tenemos que documentar a las personas de cómo tienen que alimentarse, tenemos que siempre adecuar el mejor alimento posible para impedir que la obesidad sea una constante, sobre todo en los niños pequeños, que en el futuro van a tener problemas con toda seguridad de salud, problemas sobre todo cardiovasculares y demás, o problemas de diabetes y demás, a consecuencia del exceso de peso. Entonces, la alimentación es fundamental en los niños pequeños, hay que educarles a tener una alimentación sana. En España y en toda la zona de aquí, del campo de Gibraltar, sobre todo aquí también en Gibraltar, pues tenemos las costumbres de la alimentación de la dieta mediterránea, y eso es muy bueno que lo llevemos a cabo y que documentemos a los niños de que las proteínas diarias, por ejemplo, se pueden consumir o bien con moderación, tanto incluso el pescado como la carne, y no abusar en ningún caso de alimentación basura, la que hemos importado, la anglosajona, que quizás somos un poco los culpables de llevar a cabo la evolución en esa dirección, y eso no es bueno en ningún caso. Hay que a los niños indicarles que la fruta es muy importante, los cereales son muy importantes y que tienen que tomar legumbres una vez por semana. Sería ese el campo más importante dentro de la alimentación, y sin olvidar en ningún caso el deporte, que es una base primordial para que los niños tengan una vida sana y equilibrada.
Unfortunately, the last research done in Gibraltar on childhood obesity was some years ago, but we do know that this is on the increase. Now, I do have a report here done in 1998 by the dietitian in the GHA, Melanie MacLeod, and we do know that there was 2,994 children who took part in this research, and at the time there was a 19.7% of obesity in boys from 4 to 12, and in the same age group for girls it was 21.4. Okay, almost a quarter of children are overweight or obese by the time they start primary school, and more than a third are unhealthy when they arrived in reception class. In 10 and 11-year-olds in year 6, that had almost doubled to 18.7% according to the latest annual figures from the National Child Measurement Programme, NCMP. This is a study done in the UK. In 2009 to 2010, around 9.8% of 4 and 5-year-olds were classed as obese, and contained in a report from the NHS Information Centre, almost 1 in 4 reception pupils was either overweight or obese, 23.1%, while among Year 6 children the figure was 33.4%, more than a third. This underlines the continuing rise in the number of young children with weight problems. This study was done by measuring the height and weight of children in reception class and Year 6 in primary school in England to establish how many pupils are classed as underweight, healthy weight, overweight and obese. A record 91% of all eligible pupils, over 1 million in all, took part. Okay, children who carry a lot of excess weight are classed as being obese, and this happens when they consume more calories than they burn, which then gets stored as fat and to do little physical activity. Obesity means children are more likely to develop serious health problems, and obese children usually become obese adults. Obesity brings health problems, and these include high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol levels, asthma, and development problems in the feet, liver disease, and sleep apnea. Obesity can also affect your child's emotional and mental health. He or she may have low confidence or self-esteem, and being obese can also lead to eating problems such as bulimia and depression. Possible causes of obesity include eating a poor diet, too many high-fat and sugary foods, inactivity, not doing enough exercise, and spending too much time watching television or in front of a computer. Genetic, inherited conditions, though these are rare, not being breastfed. If you're obese, then your children are more likely to be obese. This may happen because you share the same eating or activity habits, or a combination of both. Special charts called centile charts have been developed to show whether children are under or overweight for their age. Your GP or nurse will use these charts to assess your child. Your GP will also check to see whether your child has other health conditions related to being overweight. Your GP may also ask you and your child about the foods you eat and how active you are. There are a number of different treatments for obesity in children. However, no treatment will work on its own. You will need to make changes to the food you and your child eat and the activities you do, as well as changing some of the behavior of the whole family. Your GP may ask you to help your child to lose weight, but it's more likely that your GP will recommend that you help to maintain your child's weight. So as your child grows taller, his or her BMI improves and the weight stays the same. Here are some lifestyle and behavior changes. Choose some short-term goals in food and exercise to reach long-term changes. Give your child praise and rewards for their success, but make sure these aren't food related. Instead, try giving them a small gift or an activity they enjoy. Get active children. They need to do between 1 to 2 hours of moderate to vigorous intensity a day. Reduce the amount of time your child spends watching television or using the computer. Eat healthily. Get everyone to eat healthily and become more active so that your child doesn't feel that they have been singled out. If you're overweight, you should lose weight with your child. Look at how you eat as a family. Try and sit down together for meals and set a good example with the foods you eat and the activities you do. Remember, you are your child's role model, so they will be influenced by your behavior. If you're obese, chances are your child will be too. Breastfeed if you can, as eating little and often creates good habits for their future. Plus, formula is sweeter, and they could develop a sweet tooth later. If your child cries, especially with babies, don't assume they're always hungry. Don't use food treats as rewards, and don't make them finish all their food on the plate if they're not hungry. This promotes obesity, and allowing them to leave food on their plate teaches them to know when they are full. And if your child's diet is healthy and they are overweight, this is not a problem, as they will lose this as they become more active. Be more health conscious with what you put in their lunch boxes and involve yourself with what schools provide in tuck shops. Make sure if your child does sports or other physical activities that you are in control and restrict their snacks to fruit and water. And I have a GP here tonight from the Central Clinic, Dr. Begelin, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about what he does see in the clinic and the influences that obesity have on children and then later on when they're adults. Hi, Dr. Begelin.
Hi, Jerry.
So tell me, what do you see at the clinic?
Well, we do see obese and overweight children, and it's important that GPs interpret this information correctly. As you were saying, the BMI is an important measure of whether somebody's overweight or obese, and there are centile charts for growth, normal heights and weights for children, but there are also BMI centile charts, which I've got copies of actually. And I'm going to start using them now that I've got them, because it's difficult to use the same formula that we use for adults. We know by heart what's healthy in adults, but it's not obvious in children because they're growing and they have quite different fat to lean weight proportions throughout their growth. So you need to look at the whole child before you make a diagnosis of obesity. Sometimes it won't become apparent until you actually do skin thickness measurements, which are difficult to do in the surgery and GPs generally aren't trained to do. Just to talk about weight is a problem. Someone did a study in the north of England and discovered that about 60% of children do not present with weight problems to children. It's not something you discuss at the GP surgery. Well, perhaps it should be, because it's a growing problem. The World Health is highlighting it. There's a big drive in September. They've just published the figures for obesity and overweight in the north of Europe, and we're eagerly awaiting this autumn for figures to come out for Spain, Greece and Italy, which were one of the culprits in the last measure, which was back in 2002. I think 18% was the prevalence in Spain. Well, they're looking at something like 34% now. Malta was the highest with 35% obesity, but we'll see what happens when the new figures come out. Gibraltar's are not too bad. We've got the figures comparable in time to the last World Health Survey, and perhaps we should do another survey. We'll ask Melanie to do some more homework. It's very useful to have our own statistics. Gibraltar's like a little lab, isn't it? So you need to broach the subject with your GP. You need to know that there's a problem. Try not to stigmatise the child. He's getting stigmatised already at school. One of the biggest immediate health problems is stigmatisation, marginalisation, and less likely to participate in sports if they're already being teased about their weight. Interesting, you said that if your parents are overweight, it's more if the father's overweight. I don't know why that should be. After we think about it, we'll work it out. But if the father's overweight, then the child is more likely to be overweight, but not if the mother is. So you need to look after your man as well as your children. Well, women are the custodians of the health of the nation. Educate and allow women to make healthy choices, and the whole nation will improve. So you must look after everyone. Yes, and by example, lead by example. And what example they're getting from their peers and from school.
It's no secret that children love desserts, and if your child is eating too much of the high-fat variety, try to attract them to healthy versions. Skewered fruit kebabs are ideal and an excellent way to introduce them to fruit. So today we have a nice winter warmer in the guise of baby baked apples with fudge yogurt. Yummy. We've all heard the saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, and it may be correct. Apples contain high levels of various plant chemicals, including the flavonoid quercetin, which has anti-cancer and anti-inflammatory action. They are also a valuable source of pectin, a soluble fiber that can help lower bad cholesterol and help prevent colon cancer. Research has found that if you eat apples, you will have a smaller waist, less abdominal fat, and lower blood pressure than those who don't. It also helps prevent asthma in children. They are rich in flavonoids for healthy heart and lungs, ideal for snacks, and they are fat-free, low on calories and on the GI list. Keeps hunger at bay and are a good source of potassium, which also prevents fluid retention. And I can't help but sneak in a cheeky tip for us adults. Research has found a link between quercetin, found in apples, and protection against Alzheimer's disease. So if you want to remember to watch me next week, make this dessert for the whole family. There are so many ways to keep your kids active. Running, bowling, rollerblading, dancing, frisbees, hula hooping, jumping rope, kicking a ball, catch. There are balance exercises from yoga to walking with beanbags on your head to playing with your little ones using balloons to practice throwing skills and chasing bubbles. But today I'm going to finish off with exercise ideas for your children to do at home with you, alone or with friends. And tonight my little helpers are Ella, Isabella and Alex. And tonight we're going to show you how we're going to waddle like penguins. Ready? Let's waddle like penguins. And let's get all our muscles moving, all our legs and our arms. Let's do a nice waddle. What about sliding like a caterpillar? Can we slide like a caterpillar? And get your chest nice and high. And children love to use their imagination when they play. What a wonderful idea to have children stretch and strengthen their bodies as they mimic imaginary animals. And while they're having fun and staying happy and healthy, I have to say goodbye. Till next week when it's the adults' turn to be fit for life. Let's say bye. Bye.